Hi, everyone. Welcome. Welcome to today's webinar. So I cannot see myself, but I'm sure you can hear me. If you can hear me, please indicate in the chat box so that I know that you can hear me, please.
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear, Anita, and we can see you too.
Okay, perfect. Welcome, everybody. My name is Anita Rajes, and I will be moderating today's webinar, our lecture today, and that is on the executive. So I'm going to give about 5 minutes for the rest of us students or participants to get in, and then we will start. Okay, be excited because today's going to be an amazing time with our host. So we've got about 5 minutes, okay, guys, while we wait for others to join us. And while we're waiting for others to join us, can you please put your name, your region on the chat box, okay, for attendance. So we've got about 2 minutes more and 2 minutes more while we wait for others to join. Please indicate as you come in, please put your name in the chat box and maybe your region or welcome everybody. My name is Anita Rajes. Welcome. Today promises to be an exciting time with our facilitator today. So I'm excited for our lecture today. All right, welcome guys, welcome again. I am going to moderate today and my name is Anita Rajes. Welcome everybody. Today is promising to be an exciting time with our facilitator, and I will just do a little rundown, a little intro of our facilitator. So today on the executive, our facilitator is Kunle Lawal, our ED. He is an entrepreneur, idea generator, politician, TEDx speaker, and patriot. He has a keen eye for opportunities based on the experience in politics, working with non-governmental organizations and the federal government. He is passionate about Nigeria and is what could be termed, sorry, pardon me, please. He considers his boundaries to be limitless and is really focused on changing the Nigerian narrative in political participation. He currently serves as the executive director of the Electoral College Nigeria. Kunle Lawal was a once acting national publicity secretary of Kowa Party, and in his time, they built 6-state structure and developed the e-membership system, which fetched you an e-membership card in 2 minutes and conducted the only e-election in a political party rectified by INEC. FCT Alliance for New Nigeria senatorial candidate. He was FCT Alliance for New Nigeria senatorial candidate 2019. And apart from having a phenomenal race, ran with 49 pieces of legislation, which he hoped to use when he won. Has since transitioned to a non-partisan influential player in politics and electoral matters in Nigeria. As the Electoral College Nigeria, which he founded as Africa's first school of politeracy and governance. He has trained over 10,000 Nigerians for free on a 29-course module spanning politics and governance. He has worked on interventions for the Electoral Act 2022 and a few other legislation. Mr. Kunle Lawal is one of the most televised Nigerians and key to issues of national discourse and more. So, explanations on legislation, governance, and policy. Let's make welcome Mr. Kunle Lawal, our ED. With a show of hands, please show your excitement and welcome Mr. Kunle Lawal. Welcome, ED.
Thank you very much, Anita. Anita, you're looking very good today.
Thank you.
I hope I'll be focused on my slides. So thank you very much.
Thank you
welcome
so
to the welcome to the 12th cohort, everyone. My name is Kunle Lawal. This is the first time I will be taking you over the course of your time with us, which is approximately 9.5 weeks. So let's just give or take, say 10 weeks. Over that time, I would like to, since this is the first time we are engaging, I'd like to thank, of course, the head of politeracy, Deputy Director politeracy, Lisa Umibello, whom you've been interacting with, and Maureen, who of course had been. It's a pleasure to have you all here. It's also a pleasure to engage with you guys on this conversation. We also like to thank our partners who, of course, you meet Executive Director Toby Oluwatala, that's CJD. Our partners made this, of course, in conjunction with the Electoral College possible. So I'd like to thank everyone. Today's course is the executive. I'm sure running across people's minds once you just say the executive. I can bet when you say to your mind will be the president. It's the most how would I put it? It's the most how would I put it? Kind of repetitive thought that comes to everybody when the executive. But of course, the executive spans a lot more than that. As you're going to find out in local government administration, which you had earlier, some topics as planned as the theme or you hope to understand. Anyway, we'll proceed with the class. So like I said, it's a pleasure to have you all here. So and the primary function start with the executive. Of course, it's primary function. So the primary function of the executive. Can you hear me clearly? I think I'm receiving an alert that my internet is unstable. Okay. So the primary function of the executive is to enforce laws and to maintain law and order in the state. Now, state refers to territorial boundary. At this point, state could be, and that's because the executive exists on these levels, which is the local government, the state government, and the federal government. So at the local government level, the executive performing there is the local government chairman. He serves as the executive there, and his assistant, the deputy local government chairperson. Sorry, I said chairman. So chairperson or deputy chairperson. At state level, you have the state governor and the deputy governor. Of course, we'll break into other parts of the executive, but just for now, where I'm trying to define how I use state. Now, at federal, you have the president and the vice president functioning at this level. So they enforce laws, maintain law and order in the state, and execute governance on behalf of other arms of governance. That means that in conjunction with the legislative and the judiciary, we help maintain law and order. You will do the legislative, which comes a little bit after this. I think that's next week for you. And the judiciary, I think, is tomorrow. So I'm the one heading this. So I'll try not to jump into their parts too much. But we all know that the legislative is tasked with the creation of laws, and then the judiciary is interpretation of laws. So, and also the legislature provides executive oversight for the executive. So it's the executive, of course, taken from the word execute. So it helps on behalf of other arms of governance. So as we've explained earlier, that's what the executive is. So the functions of the executive refers to the enforcement of laws. Now, I know this is the most interesting part of governance. And I think what we hold most people in executive position to enforcement of laws. So the laws are made by the legislative, interpreted by the judiciary. That's to what extent these laws can function, or in what context they can function. I think one of the gray areas here will be like the president executing the fuel subsidy, taking out fuel subsidy from Nigeria, and he did that on his first day. He has those powers, and it was kind of enforcing an already existing law. So there was a law that created subsidy, and of course, there's a law that has taken out subsidy. We should also understand that the executive kind of dilly-dallies too with a little bit of legislative functions, and these are executive orders. One key one will be Executive Order 10, I think, of 2020, in which President Muhammadu Buhari, the former president of Nigeria, granted local governments autonomy. Now, this executive order was passed to the National Assembly, and that's how the executive passes legislative bill. It sends an executive, the president writes an executive order, it's passed by the National Assembly, and then it's now handed over to state assemblies, so that you have a holistic agreement, because the president can't seem to take a decision unilaterally. Now, some states threw it out, Lagos, a few other states. we're not behind local government autonomy. So I'm just showing you how laws are enforced by the executive. The executive also, can there was something critical, and in Nigeria, especially with the case with Niger. So I'm trying to use examples which are recent so that we don't go too far back. So Nigeria, with Niger, of course, the president has threatened we're going to make some actions. But I will tell you something: the president cannot order a war with Niger without the backing of the National Assembly. The National Assembly is the only person that can grant the president powers to use the military in an external aggression or in an internal aggression. So enough about enforcement of laws. And now I'm sure you're conversant with your state governors also, having some set out laws they enforce within your states, depending on what state you are in. If you are somewhere like Anambra, you would know that a few set of laws have been put down as palliative support. And I think these things range from no more taxes for people living with disabilities, school fees still free, tuition free till JS3, and a few other laws that were put in to help assist, at the time of palliatives in a number of states. Another function of the executive, of course, is appointment making. Now, appointment making, I think, is one of the most interesting parts. I know that we all were thirsty to see who the ministers under the present president was and how it would come to function. We've seen the ministers, of course, few were appointed. We've seen, I'm sure some of you are conversant with those who were also appointed as SSAs to the president, the media and strategy, which you have in Ngulari and a few others, SSA, new media and etc. So these appointments are vested in the executive. That was at the federal level. Let's come down to the state level. So at the state level, I'm sure whatever state you are in, you're going through a new set of commissioners, new set of SHs, special advisors to the governor, a new chief of staff, a whole new set of, and then, this is the period, or this is the post an election. This is the, how do I put it, the peak period of appointments. It slows down, but appointments are still made coming down the line. Another function of the executive will be defense of the state. Now, the state, I need you to understand this critically. At local government level, the defense of a local government is guaranteed by the local government chairman. The state is guaranteed by the governor. At the federal, it is guaranteed by the president. I know that you have some few discrepancies to what I just said. Governors can't control their police. The commissioner of police report directly to the president. Yeah, sounds interesting. Or to the IG. Yeah, sounds interesting. Okay, why is it when they want to arrest a blogger or it's time for an election, the governor still wields the same power he has or uses the security as he wishes to use it, especially when it's a local government election. He wields more power than you expect him to use. And the situation is, kind of funny, but when it comes to internal crisis, governments run away from the fact that they are responsible or they can be culpable and blame the president and try to act like, no, we need this. If they are not in charge of security, let me ask a critical question. Then why are they paid giving security votes? The amount of money they take to help boost situations within their system. Now, I'll give a very random. We'll run this small, and nobody should get a little touchy. I'm not doing this so let's run a small, because I notice everybody's kind of quiet and listening. So let's run a small project. Now, with the situation that happened in Lekki as regards the NSARS at the toll gate, who would you hold responsible? Local government chairman, state governor, or the president? Note, local government chairman, state governor, or president. You can type in the chat box and I'll look at what you guys have picked from that. So you can just type in the chat box. There's no need to respond. I'm opening that now. Okay. Atiba Adediran says state governor. Israel says Oluwasegun. Okay, state governor. Tanimo. Wow. Okay, whose name is Tanimo? That's my mother's name. Actually, state governor. All of the above, all of them, state government, state governor. I'm not asking who ordered. I'm not asking what happened. Who is in charge? State governor. Okay. I believe you guys. Who is Rita Additional? Why did you say local government? Remember that I said jurisdiction. I didn't say who acted. The key word was jurisdiction. Okay, so you had your local government class the other day. Security in the state. Okay. You had your local government class the other day. Was there any mention of bridges and bridges, roads? Did you guys talk about the jurisdiction of local government chairman and toll gates within their jurisdictions? Was that mentioned in the class or no? That's just tell me or no answer. Is anybody there?
Yes, I think the jurisdiction was mentioned by Prof.
By Prof. The jurisdiction was mentioned, and of course, the jurisdiction would have had bridges, toll gates, etc. Right? Markets. It's actually under the jurisdiction of the local government, under the executive. So while everybody was chasing the governor, Sanwo-Olu, I'm not asking who ordered it. I'm saying under whose jurisdiction. So who you were really to direct your grievances to was the Etiosa local government chairman. But like I said, we are learning in class. So defense of the state is vested. So at these three levels, we've explained it. Now, foreign policy making is also vested in the hands of course, the federal at this. This would suit only the federal. The states are part of the country and cannot make such decisions on behalf of the country. So this is fully a federal point. Now, if I were to ask anybody here, is Nigeria an aligned nation to the Eastern or Western Bloc, or is Nigeria a non-aligned nation? And you have a chance to answer in the box. I just want this class to be a little bit more interactive than just me talking. So is Nigeria a non-aligned nation? Are we aligned to the Eastern Bloc, or are we aligned to the Western Bloc? Now, the Western Bloc, of course, is Britain, US, etc. The Eastern Bloc is China, Russia, and the Wagner crisis. His chairman Putin, the new Oga of Kremlin. So I'd like to see your answers. Which is Nigeria? Non-aligned, says Gabriel. Non-aligned. Nigeria is aligned to the Western Bloc by Adini. Non-aligned. Aligned. Okay, beautiful. Nigeria, Somalia is non-aligned. We're talking about Nigeria. How do we get to Okay, Somalia. Okay, the guy from Somalia. It's great to have you on the class. Oh, sorry, we're making Nigerian. I hope you'll be able to translate it a little bit. Yeah, Somalia is not aligned. You're right about that, Mulid Abdul Rahman Ali. And then Nigeria too is non-aligned. You can refer to Tafawa Balewa's speech in I think 63, when Nigeria became a republic, which was to stand non-aligned. It means that Nigeria does not fight or stand in any interest, be it of the East or the Western Bloc, which means we are ready to trade, interact, and deal with China, Russia, US, and UK at the same time. And that has been Nigeria's stand since in 1963, when we became a federal republic. So we just took a small delve into foreign policy a little bit. Now, financial functions. Now, this is the part that I think most Nigerians, this is the exciting part of executive power, financial functions. So yes, their budgets are approved. They actually the executive creates a budget, sends it to the National Assembly for ratification. And that the National Assembly ratifies the budget and the executive spends. I know that you guys discussed within your local governments. I would like to first add, I don't know if you said this, that no local government in Nigeria earns less than 130 million naira per month. And I'll say this again, no local government in Nigeria receives less than 130 million FAC per month in Nigeria. I'm sure you were also told they don't have immunity. So Nigerians, we just like talking about the president. Anyway, moving on. So financial functions, of course, they are ability to spend, choose which projects are spent on, and the little pocketing here and there, which is conversant with our hierarchy of executive. Now we also have they also have the function to grant titled honors. I'm sure shortly before President Muhammadu Buhari, former President Muhammadu Buhari left, a lot of honors were conferred. Member Order of the Niger, MFR, Federal Republic. CFR is restricted to people who have been presidents or vice presidents, commander of the Federal Republic. A few very choicy people have gotten it, but you have to do quite a lot to get them. So we are done with that. Now we will break a little bit about governance. Now, there's a common problem in Nigeria, and most times we tend to mix politics and governance, and it's so, how would I put it? It's so intertwined that we have made them one. They aren't one. So I'll redefine this for the purpose of this class. Politics is the vehicle to office, to elected office. Politics is the vehicle to elected office. Full stop. There's nothing more than that. Our problem is that we practice politics in governance, and of course, governance is the way and manner power is exercised in management of a country's human, material, and economic resources. Now, there should be no politics in governance. It's the same way I do not believe that when a party wins election, a party flag should be behind whoever has won that. That's wrong. If it's done anywhere in your state, it's wrong. It's nothing like, yeah, you could say APC won the election or APC brought in the governor, but there's no APC state, and there's no PDP state, and there's no Labour Party state, and there's no ABGA state. I think, there's an NPP now, 5, but there's no an NPP state. There's the Nigerian state. And they are all sworn to the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. They are not sworn to a manifesto of a political party or a constitution of a political party. And they act within the confines of the Constitution and how the Constitution allows them within jurisdictions of their offices. I don't want to dwell on this. Your later classes would help explain, but this is quite a wide topic. So there are types of executive. There's the elected and there's the appointed executive. So I'd like to start with the elected. Now, the elected, we've already gone for at local level, chairperson, vice chairperson, local government. President, vice president, federal level, state, governor, deputy governor. Appointed, local level. I'm sure you've heard of your secretaries of health, secretaries of education, secretary of security, different things, MDG goals at local government level. They help local government chairman or chairperson, make decisions at local level. Now, let's take it up in our state. Now, at state, you have SSAs. Okay, local government to have Ps and SAs. They shouldn't, but they do in Nigeria. So at state level, you now have your special assistants to the governor, your personal assistants to the governor, the senior special assistants, which are the higher. So let me describe them in position of hierarchy. So you have The smallest being personal assistant to the governor, the next being special assistant to the governor, then senior special assistant to the governor. It's the top of the ranks. Then you have commissioners, or you have your SSEs, senior special advisors. So those are the parameters of appointed at the state level. And then you also have within the state level, you also have DGs. It states that I think let me not be hard today. You guys, that's been nice today. But a state that I think abuses this privilege would be Cross River. There's like a DG for everything. Cross River. DG due process. It's DG waste management. It's excessive. Yeah, I don't know, about 100 DG. I'm not saying there are 100, but quite a lot of DG. And that's outside the ministries, departments, and agencies that Nigeria has. But now let's go up to the president, which is a federal level. Now, Nigeria has about 1,500 ministries, departments, and agencies. So at that point, you have about 1,500. That's ministers. You have about, one per state. In this time, we have about 47 ministers now. So say 47. We have departments, multiple agencies, massive. So DGs, executive secretaries, they're massive. That's minus PAs again to the president, S to the president, senior special vice president, and then the ministers and their SSEs and SAs and PAs. You know how this works now. They're now up to almost everybody down the food chain. Up to everybody down the food chain as regards the executive. So those are the appointed executives. I'm sure we know the difference. Some are appointed, the appointed are appointed based on the recommendation of whoever is in office appointed at local government, state government, or federal government levels. Then as regards elected, we put them into office. Now this may depend or may not depend on whether you think your candidate is a more viable candidate, which is what democracy is about. It's popularity contest. So you elect them into office. Let's not delay on that. Now, how do we achieve a functional executive? Now, this is key to understanding how executives should function. Now, separation of powers is a concept, and it's something that enables a country to function properly. So you have the judiciary, you have the legislative, and you have the executive on another arm. Those are the three arms of government. And within the executive, within the legislative and the executive and the judiciary, you have different levels, which are local government, state, and federal levels. Now, the inability, any one of this, to function properly would be that separation of powers are not done properly. I'll give an example. So I told you that back allocation, 130 million at least per month to any local government in Nigeria. I'm sure the next question in your head was, wow, what things not going on in our local government? Good question. But now, no matter how good your governor has been in Nigeria, no matter how they have sounded, average, every governor, not the average, let me put it properly, every governor in Nigeria has abused the privilege of autonomy for the local government. Local government is not under state government. It is a separate level of government. So the state government kidnapped the local government using the interlocal government, Ministry of Interlocal Government Affairs, in which they deposit their funds and dictate. And that is why they're so interested that our country has restructured these elections. Their governors, states are in charge, not governors, states are in charge of local government elections. You've seen state governments hijack this particular election. So the separation of powers, the actual kidnapping of the local government by state government, state governments are asking for better restructure from the federal government, do you think the federal will grant it with what the state has done to the local government? I don't think so. I don't even think they're ready, because everything that has been released to state has been abused on every level. State governors have turned it crazy. And so because of the inability of separation of powers, so this is separation at levels I just explained. Now there's separation in the arms. Now the legislative is not supposed to be a rubber stamp legislative. For an executive to be good, the legislative has to outmatch it in its functions. A clear time of that, everybody clearly told, a best time in democracy when Obasanjo was president. We all talk about it. I will remind you, it was quite turbulent for the legislative at the time. I believe we had about 4 Senate presidents in 8 years, if not more, 4 or 5. I believe 5. I'm not sure. I can't remember. I think 5 within the time. And you ask yourself the question: what exactly was going on? But the legislative was very affirmed in its decisions. It faced Obasanjo a lot of time. We don't have legislative. I think last time we saw legislative was the 8th Assembly under Dr. Bukola Saraki. Though I would also say the 9th Assembly, which passed about 500 bills, was the most successful assembly in history. But that's another kettle of fish. We won't get to legislative, we'll explain that. So even within the levels, there hasn't been full separation of power. Let's borrow from former President Muhammadu Buhari's action in, I think, 2016, when he went and raided House of the Judiciary with the DSS. This is totally wrong. Abuse of executive power. Nigeria even has a massive anomaly. So in any sensible country or in sane countries, the police is under the Ministry of Justice. Now in Nigeria, they're under the Ministry, if I believe, of Interior. They have their own ministry, but the Interior oversees, which is senseless. What's customs doing what's immigration doing? Interior. Well, that's another argument. Okay, let's just look at the abuse of power. So former President Muhammadu Buhari had Supreme Court judges being threatened by the DSS, which is totally, there was no justification for that kind of act. It's total abuse of power. And most of the time, and the legislative, which was to get in check of this, didn't act because they thought, or they were rubber stamped to the president. Naturally, the president should have been queried on, and an impeachment process should have started, and they should have asked the president why he abused his particular powers, especially against the judiciary. Anyway, decentralization, like we've mentioned, state governments seize local governments. The federal too is guilty of seizing things that states should have, like they should be able to mine in their states. But as Zamfara has clearly shown us, they will turn it into a rebel party, and Nigeria's gold still finds itself in the Dubai market, even though we haven't officially started selling gold. I talk Femi Falana, we don't know whether it's true or not, but Femi Falana claims about $9 billion of Nigerian gold is on the gold market, which is crazy. You now wonder why so many state kidnappings and rustlers there to cover up what is actually being performed behind. I know a few Chinese have been arrested as regards that. So anyway, let's not go into that. So back to the mining licenses, which should be given to states to practice to feel better. So decentralization is key to having a functional executive. If you vest all the powers in the center, you will not be able to dispense democracy. Democracy is supposed to be dispensed. I've always defined the local government as being the first handshake of democracy to the people. And if it's not dispensed, there is no how the dividends of democracy will flow down. Because at state level, the governor is quite far away from you. Local government level is the closest level. If whoever is in power can't dispense his actions based on funds being kidnapped or etc., it won't work. And if you look at the way democracy even works, local governments do not have immunity. And there's a reason they do not have immunity. That is because You live with them. You should be able to hold them accountable, and people can see them go tail during that tenure if they do not stand by what should be. So I think I've explained health to accountability by the legislative, but for purpose of this, I think I just went over it in error, but or in expatiating separation of power. But of course, the legislative is supposed to hold a functional executive accountable, be it councillors, which are the National Assembly of the local government, State House of Assembly at a state level, and then the House of Rep and the Senate at the federal level. The rule of law is very critical to achieve functional executive. Everybody must perform within their jurisdiction and be held to the law. Planning. I'm sure if there's anything we have heard the most in Nigeria were things like Vision 2020. Okay, now 2020 don't pass now. Where are we? What was achieved? Now people are talking about the plan 2040. This that Nigeria should be in the League of Nations by top League of Nations by 2050. It started again. Let's just set short-term objectives, short-term plans, and where we're going to, how we're going to do this, and then start to push forward ahead. Nigeria normally doesn't have a plan. Europe has a plan of stopping buying fossil fuels by 2030. Nigeria, that is selling fossil fuels, which is crude oil, has no plan to stop making money from fossil fuels by 2030. Qatar and UAE are championing off. They've gone into tourism, they've diversified. So is Saudi Arabia. Nigeria, well, let's not discuss it. I don't want to start Nigeria's problems today. But planning is essential for you to have a functional identity. Now, in enhancing a functional executive, there are 5 key pointers which I listed here. There are more, but I just felt these 5 were important to discuss. So first is participation. Now, we feel in Nigeria, the highest level of participation in governance apparently is on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Nigerians do not participate at political party level, and they cannot dictate who's going to serve them or who eventually gets to serve. In Nigeria, we have turned our democracy into a selection, which isn't an election. And when people have picked for us, we now decide to say, okay, let's separate the chaff from the weed, or from etc. But we need to participate more. Now we're talking about governance. I spoke about the political part of it. That's preceding the executive emerging. But now that the executive has emerged, how many times when have you been to your local government office? When have you asked your local government chairman what exactly is going on? The governor and president are a little out of your reach sometimes. But local government chairman, when have you taken time to go and see your local government? And it doesn't mean you have to go to your local government chairman in your so-called ward where you come from. That's nonsense. You live somewhere, your taxes are being collected by that particular, he's accountable to you. You don't need to go to your village, wherever it is, and start arguing. You come from there. It's irrelevant. Your taxes are not paid there. Secondly, will be accountability in budgeting and planning. I'm sure most people here haven't looked at budget. Most people don't know how much is being allocated to education, how it's being spent. Most won't look at health. Most won't look at that, on several levels. And we need to start paying attention to such things to understand how there's a lot of information being pulled out by budget and a few other sister organizations, which I think will be key and necessary if Nigeria paid more attention to it and highlighted these things more and questioned the people in office. Thirdly, I think to enhance a functional executive, we must create financially unattractive offices. I think this explains itself. I don't need to believe that it's not the salaries of our legislators or governors that is the problem. It's never been the salaries. I think salaries of House of Rep and Senate have remained below 500,000 naira till now. But how do you collect 500,000 naira as salary? And then your allowance is clearly 84 times more. That's about 42 million naira. It it's not done anywhere in the world. How can your salary not become, your allowances totally outmatch your salaries? So they're right. Even when they say they want to increase their salaries, it's true. Salaries have remained the same for, I think, 13 years or 14. But it's the allowances that are the issue. So we need to create those financially unattractive offices. The president earns about 2 million naira, vice president about 1.5. But the allowances around those offices are mad, crazy. We also, to enhance a functional executive, freedom of speech is necessary. Now, we love to dwell in Nigeria on freedom of speech. It's key. We love, I want to be able to talk. Freedom of speech doesn't mean you can talk anyhow. I've always defined freedom of speech this way. Freedom of speech is guaranteed when it does not infringe on the rights and freedoms of others. So you're not free to just say anything, just come online, because this person is a minister, you are a thief, or because this person is in APC, you stole what? Were you in the office when you stole? Were you there? And if he takes you up and sues you to what, you probably cannot defend it. So freedom of speech is you have the right to ask him, based on this policy, based on this amount I'll send to your office, what X done with X, Y, Z. And at that point, you would have no option but to answer you. But, I don't know what's wrong with our generation in Nigeria. We've gone to ballistic, that's the best way to say it, that we feel that getting retweets on Twitter is more important than the development of a country or actually asking relevant questions. So next will be 5 will be understanding by electorate of elected office jurisdiction and powers, which is why we hold these courses, which is why the electoral college even exists, because you can't engage what you don't understand, and that is critical. It's cross-board for every other thing. You can't engage what you don't understand. That is basic for everyone. So you need to understand the office to be able to engage the office directly. I believe this PowerPoint was shared to everyone. Gabriel, yes, you're still writing. Am I saying more than the PowerPoint? Gabriel, your video is on now. I can see you. Okay, it's not that. Anyway, so we'll get to questions. Later on. I think I'm done. So, in closing, the executive is steering rudder of governance and its operational signals in development or degradation, meaning the executive determines whether the government succeeds or fails. Thank you very much. I will be open to questions now. Thank you.
Thank you, Edie. Thank you. One thing I took for sure is freedom of speech is guaranteed when it does not infringe on the right and freedom of others. That is absolutely amazing. So if you've got any questions, please indicate with a show of hands. Yeah, we do have some people who have their icons raised. Okay, so we will go according to Atiba. Is it you? Well, we'll have to mute your mic. Can you mute your mic, Atiba, please?
Yeah, good evening. Can you hear me?
Good evening. Yes, you can hear you.
Thanks
Good
to
evening.
thanks for meeting me today. My first question goes this way. You talked about the being the executive being the security of the state. But I want you to clarify this because these are part of the challenges I've been engaging at Oyo State here. Sometimes before the issue of NSAS came on board, whereby some protesters were arrested by the police officers, and they were charged before we get to the root of the matter. And there is this illusion saying that it is not the state government that is prosecuting those guys, that it is possible for the police to prosecute directly without the knowledge or consent of the state prosecuting public prosecutor at the state level. How valid is this? That's one. Two, in the appointment.
Wait, Aditiba. So that we do not mix things up, let me answer your questions as they come so that I will not get confused. So if I'm right, what I believe you're saying is that states are in charge of security, but the police can prosecute and the state prosecutor will not be aware. Now, if this was an NSAS issue, which you're talking about, it was an NSAS issue. Was federal property destroyed? Is the first question I'm asking.
No.
Yeah? I can't hear you.
No.
Yeah, sure, federal property was not destroyed. Anyway, the police has rights because the police is federal. It has rights to prosecute outside the state's jurisdiction. Depends on what breach of peace and harmony. It has different levels it can prosecute on. So the federal has that power, but the state prosecutor should be informed. I will also critically tell you at this point, being honest with you, during the NSAS, a lot of things happened, and a lot of governors felt it was better to blame the federal. So they did some things which actually was done by the state government, but they blamed the federal. You need to critically understand that.
I get it.
Thank you. Your second question.
Oh, so the second question is this: on the issue of appointment of police commissioner, I will still reference back to the NSAS because it serves as a level playground at Oyo State here. Because during those periods, we're having a male CP in person of Mr. Wachiku. So during the incident, and there have been a lot of allegations, because we had a case of civil unrest that the suspect was arrested, and along the line, we don't know how the abracadabra worked. Then when they were to bring another CP, they recommend a female, in person of Mrs. Ungozi. Then while we're now having the conversation, they say it has to be a conversation between the governor, that the governor have power to request for the kind of person they want at the state. Is it part of their constitutional duty, or it is the function of the IG
Yes.
to do that?
No. A governor has the right to request. It's constitutionally guaranteed. It's like he's choosing the team that will work with him. Anybody functional within the state. Let's remember that the governor is number one, the chief security officer of the state. If he feels somebody is not capable or his capacity is poor, he can choose to reject him, even though it's sent from the federal, until the governor accepts. The governor has that jurisdiction in the state. So the state is the governor is almost Superman. If I can use those kind of terms.
You talked about 140 million naira. Is that the minimum budget for a local government to spend per month, or the allocation they receive?
I don't know if you got me, but I'll repeat this. I said the FAC allocation going to any, that means for being part of Nigeria, the least any of the 774 local governments can receive, one of them per month is 130 million.
Okay, now I get, because I'm having this issue at Oyo State here, whereby the governor mandate that the highest expenditure per month for a local government should not exceed 2 million naira.
Yeah. But please, let's not go into that. He doesn't. Let me be honest. The governor has no jurisdiction to even state that. He has no jurisdiction. Totally no jurisdiction. As I don't think, I'm not sure that has happened because I haven't seen it. But if the governor did, he has no jurisdiction. I'm not sure he did. He can't. I don't even think he can. He doesn't have that jurisdiction. Thank you, Aditya. Could we go to the next person? I believe that's more. Thank you, Anita.
Gabriel, you can unmute your mic. The way it's functioning on my own side, it's from Gabriel.
Some Joey.
Okay, Gabriel. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Good afternoon, sir. Thank you for that brilliant lecture, sir. It was quite enlightening and insightful, sir. But you didn't answer our question, sir. The question of
I didn't
who was
answer your
supposed
question.
to. Yes, sir. The one you asked us that we feel you didn't ask us who was supposed to be held responsible for the NSAS.
I
sir,
did. I answered your question. And please, can we not make this class an NSAS class? I don't want to be answering questions on NSAS. I just use it as an example. NSAS is way behind. Thank you. Go ahead.
I wanted to ask a question not relating to this class, but relating to the college. Sir.
Okay, go ahead.
Please, the political parties that we represent, are we to pick their ideology or we can form our own ideology? Then secondly, some members...
You are free. Okay, so let me answer your first question. I prefer answering questions, so that I don't get lost. So yes, you are free to, if you want to create your own ideology, you are free. The college has given you free hand. Like totally free hand. So next.
Then the second one, please, for it's not just you. Those PROP members here, we have few in the WhatsApp, but it's like on the platform we are much. Please, if you're a member of PROP, get to the platform and locate yourself so that we can add it to the WhatsApp group, please. Thank you.
All right, Gabriel, can you ask your question, please? Unmute your mic, Gabriel.
Can you hear me now? Okay, good evening, everyone. Most sincerely, I thank you for the wonderful lecture. I must acknowledge I'm impressed and I've been impacted. One of the things that influenced my registration for these classes is because I'm a keen observer of Nigerian politics. And all this while, I must say, I have been highly disappointed on how Nigeria's so-called democracy is being run. And on paper and on how we are told is that Nigeria is a democratic state. But if you check critically on the things and the happenings of our leaders, particularly the governors and the presidents, you discover that there is a high rate and a flagrant abuse of the rule of law. Nigeria is a constitutional democratic state, as we are told, and as in our constitution. You see that most of the time, almost all the time, the law, according to the rule of law, is supposed to be supreme. Everybody is supposed to be under the law. We are supposed to have a functioning democracy and then respect for human rights. But if you check very, very, very well, Nigeria, as we are seeing currently, it has always been, you see abuses of various kinds from the governor and the president, to be precise. I want to be impacted by these classes that we are having. So as a resource person, I'm asking you for your opinion. What would be your advice for the president and the governors of this country on the best way to go, so that at the end of the day, if they'll have access to what we are doing on the classes, and then they'll be able to learn something that is, I'm saying in essence, what is your advice to the governor, the president? Yes, on respect for the rules.
My advice, I'll explain something. For any country that has learned to function properly, or has learned to minimize its abuse of its constitution, is only guaranteed when average citizens in the country understand the law. That's the only time they can hold. While I was talking, I said you cannot engage the system you don't understand. So I can tell you that averagely sitting down here, even though we have lawyers here, people are not conversant with Constitution of Nigeria, their own rights, the jurisdictions of office of separate parts of elected office. We are also not conversant, with how political parties work. So what if as we're sitting down here, what if I told you that the first mistake in the 2023 elections was political parties? So political parties are being mandated by law to provide a membership register electronically and the hard copy to INEC before any convention or primaries is being conducted. And none of the 18 political parties met this fully. So if that didn't happen, it means that every primaries convention held how do I put it, nullified, because they are not constitutional. The law that enforces their constitutionality states that as a requisite. So I can tell you that averagely, I don't think anybody in this class knew what I just said. Okay, apart from the electoral college, that's those ones. So if that was broken, so Gabriel, if that was broken in the first place, how can you even start to talk about other things being broken down the road? So I don't have any advice for governors and presidents. They don't need any advice. The people that need advice is the average Nigerian that doesn't understand how a country should work, because that's the only way, because we don't understand. That's the only way people in power are able to perpetrate abuses on the system.
That's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, so Adeni, can you please unmute your mic and you can ask your question. Is your mic mute? Unmute, please.
I think he's unmuted.
Adeni, are you there? Hello? Okay, so I think we're having a little issue with Adeni's mic. Can Amos unmute your mic, please? We'll come back to you, Adeni, so that way we don't have to slow down.
Okay.
Thank you, Anita.
He put his question up. His question is, hold on a second. Trying to grab his question on the chat box. Edie, can you see his question on the chat box?
Yes, I think he's saying that someone else should go ahead.
Okay, perfect. Amos, can you unmute your mic, please?
Okay. Good evening, sir, and thanks for the lecture. I have serious concern when it comes to local government administration. From the breakdown you made available to us this evening, it gives me more worry, more concern about how things are being done. If the minimum is local government, but one of my questions is this: the 130 million given to each local government, is it for?
I can't, Amos, I think your mic is too close to your mouth. I can barely piece out what you're saying. It's not
Okay.
we might have to lift your voice. Yeah. Yes, I can hear you now.
All right, thank you. Okay, I said I have concern with the local government administration. From what you just said, concerning the amount given to each local government from the federal allocation account each month, which is about 130 million, you said. And
I said not less than.
Yeah, not less
Meaning
than.
there are people that have, like, Etiosa has 587 million.
Wow, okay.
Come on.
All right, so my concern and where I want you to help me through is this. From that money, it is where they pay salaries for the local government workers from. And if that is yes, the leftover for that amount, are they also supposed to use that to carry out certain projects? Because from where I come from, I have someone who is actually from my town and who was a local government member. And for the whole time he was a local government member, he had not even a signboard
not even a signboard was made
What
available.
local government are you from? What local government are you from?
I'm from Benue State in Apa local government. You know, so
Where?
sadly, I said I'm from Benue State, Apa local government.
Apa, spell it.
Yes, Apa local government.
Apa local government.
Yeah, APA.
Go ahead, I'm listening.
So nothing was done all through. So if these monies are coming, why then we have erosion dealing with people in local government areas, schools are not being taken care of, you know, a whole lot of abnormalities going on in our local community. And when we talk about these things, they tell you everything is in the hands of the state government. So if this money gets to them, is it that the local government has authority, but from your lecture, I know that they don't have the right to even get hold of those monies. It is because the community or the country we live in is not a very sane one. It's not even sane, let alone being very. Okay, so how do we reconcile these things? How do we now begin to hold our leaders accountable? And the last lecture to have a concern about, it wasn't really addressed the way I wanted. Okay, so we talk about local government that we can actually record them. Some of these local government chairpersons are just being appointed by the state chairman to put in there. So when we have concerns of being that warrant us recalling them, how do you undergo such processes? So those are my concerns. Thank you.
First and foremost, I find it funny when Nigerians start pointing fingers at local government chairman. Participation in local government elections is less than 7% in any state in Nigeria, meaning 7% of Nigeria's voting population participate in local government elections. Why would you hold them seriously? You want to hold them accountable when you don't even care who's there? The only reason why governors have been able to perpetrate the madness they've created or the infringements they've created with local government elections is because of a singular reason. They know that we don't care. Who cares about local government elections? It's time for Arsenal's match. It's time for Chelsea's match. It's probably time for a wedding. Who cares about local government elections? They don't even run on cycles. It's as abusive local government elections as Osun State having the audacity to stop other parties apart from the incumbent party in power participating and then submit a yes or no. So you only have one party, which was the incumbent party, then the APC, and then you had yes or no on a ballot paper. And it was a joke, and nobody cares. If that continues, I don't expect you to be able to hold anything accountable. Now, what I was trying to do while I asked the local government was that I'm trying to pull back allocation for, okay, the closest I can get to now is 2019. And I'll share my screen for Benue State. Is that okay? Are you there? Anita, is anybody hearing me?
Yes, I can hear you, Edie.
I mean, is he still there? Is he still there?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, you want me to show you your state's allocation?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, let me try and do that. So there, we have almighty Apa. What amount can you see there? 148,643,678 kobo.
Just for 1 month.
You said?
It's just for a month.
It's not for a man, it's for a local government.
Yes, for a month, for 1 month.
But these are the examples I'm giving. Till I pull this off, most of you don't even care about this. And you know, most of you like, see, Boko is earning as much as 235 million, 235, 410. And, you know, dependent on which state, I can pull up all this information for you guys. So let's go back to the conversation. I just did this so that you'd have an idea of what I'm talking about. So back to the conversation, I need to critically step at this point that the local government will never move forward till you are interested in it. Nobody cares about it. That's why they've been able to abuse it. Nobody cares about it. You don't care. I don't care. Nobody cares. So these things have continued to go on. And we refuse to talk about things that really matter. What do you see on social media? Not okay. When it was Buhari, it's Buhari. Osibanjo, Buhari. Now it's Tinubu. We've even forgotten that I has the vice president because that one seems to be going scot-free. It's just Tinubu. That's our thought process. Until we're able to change that, local government is going to remain exactly the same. No matter what you think, no matter what you think, or you think you know, we're never going to get anywhere. So this is imperative. And I remind you, again, local government, everybody at local government do not have immunity, meaning you can hold them accountable with this and take them to court and send them to jail. But I can only tell you that. I can't do that for you. So thank you very much.
Thank you so
who's
much.
next?
Monday,
Okay.
Monday, and then Adeni, you'll be next afterwards. Monday, please unmute your mic. Hello, Monday. Okay, Adeni, can you mute your mic?
Hello, I'm right here. Can you hear me?
Who's speak? Okay, Monday. All right then.
Yeah. First of all, I want to appreciate the organizers for this calling. You're doing a wonderful job.
Could you raise your voice a bit, Monday? I can barely hear you.
All right. Can you hear me now, sir?
Yes, I can. I can clearly.
Yeah, I was really appreciating you. Now, the essence of the whole conversation is built around development. And as an approach to governance, we have chosen as a country to use democracy to advance development. At least the Western world is a good example of countries that have implemented democracy to achieve their development. But if you take a critical look at Africa, Nigeria in particular, we have adopted a mode of democracy for quite some while now. But it seems that we can't even compare the democratic era with that of even the military. We seem to be even retrogressing. And this whole idea that democracy is the best form of government that can promote development. Then we have example of China, that is not a democratic state, but the second largest economy in the world and has achieved significant development. So I want to ask, do we really need democracy to achieve development? Because our kind of democracy doesn't seem to be working. Of course, the electorate have to be aware of their fundamental rights of how governance is run in the country, to demand greater accountability for those who lead us. But the more we become politically aware, the more even those in the corridors of power try to suppress us, fathom out measures to keep us.
Wait. I need to correct the statement. You said the more we become politically aware. Are we politically aware in Nigeria?
Yeah, to an extent, at least compared to years past. There is an increasing.
No, it's not increasing. It's decreasing. 30 years. And I'll tell you why. 30 years ago, 40 years ago, everybody knew their local government chairman. They held them accountable, even though it was under a military era. The local government chairman lived around you. He couldn't even afford to steal one naira. Now, local government chairmen have houses in the UK and the US. You don't even know who they are. We are retrogressing. We are not. If I remember, the best cars police got first were given by Algon sometime in 1993, I think, 94. Now, local government chairman can come together and give police cars. They once did. And these cars were the first set of jeeps police had. So, to answer your question, we are not becoming more politically aware. We are actually becoming more politically illiterate at a speed that is far faster than if we ever evolved from apes to man. We are retrogressing faster. So we're almost at ape level democratically. Sorry to say.
All right. Well, thank you so much for that. Now, my question is the idea...
Yes, democracy. Yes.
They
democracy.
believe
I was
that democracy is the best form of government that can achieve quicker development, a sustainable ideology in this time, considering the current happenings in democratic states in Africa.
No system of government can work anywhere in the world if the people are totally oblivious of the idea of how the system works. So whether we shift to a monarchy or we shift to fascism or whatever we decide to follow, even if we create our own, like China has created its own unique off the shoots, have parliamentary, have this, have that, have a lot of things. Even if we do, for any government to succeed, there must be a clear understanding of how the system works, how to hold who accountable, and how it functions. It's a three separate things. And as long as, the problem now is that people were reading newspapers and knowing what was going on in Nigeria 20 years ago, 30 years ago. During the 93 elections, I'm about to reveal my age here. Well, during 93 elections, I was in year 3, I think, in secondary school, summer 3 in secondary school. And we found out everything about the elections in the papers. Now you have more access to information than you can wield. These papers meet you in your hands. Nobody would have thought of that. But guess what? I can tell you that people do not know what's going on in Nigeria now than they did then. So it's not the system of government that's the issue. It's the fact that you don't care. And let me explain something better to show you how much, everybody tries to absolve or mortgage the responsibilities of the Nigerian electorate. If today I was on Twitter and I abused someone in government, you would retweet. But tomorrow, if the same me was given, let's say, an appointment by the president, and I was seeing a picture shaking him, you will say God has made it. So the truth is, who are you exactly? You want to hold the government accountable, yet when the largesse comes into, or like I normally say, Nigeria is a buffet of corruption. We're all just waiting for our turn. Everybody wants to snatch all those crude oil pop-offs and gold jollof rice. I call from Zampara people. We're all trying to snatch. So it's not the system of government that is the issue. The issue is you don't care. You call other people corrupt. When last did you get a driver's license normally? When last did you, if you go to a bank where your friend is the manager, will you stand in queue? Well, there are a lot of issues. So till we get the way a system works and we're ready to follow a system work, people will tell you vote. That's the common thing. Nobody tells you to join a political party. Does anybody tell you that? Nobody tells you that. But yet you think that without joining a political party, you're going to have someone that you want to merge. Really? That's like sending your dog to the market to go and pick what you wear for your wedding. That's how intelligent it sounds. So the problem is not the system. The problem is you. Thank you very much. Okay, Anita, I'm done. I guess he's no longer here. I can't see him. Hello, or is it me that has an issue? Hello, Maureen.
We can hear you, Edie. I think his
So
network has cut
I've
him
been
off.
Yes,
talking.
hello.
Okay then.
Okay, Denny, you can unmute your mic. All right, if you can't unmute your mic, yeah, can you please unmute your mic? Hello, guys. Yeah, can you hear me?
Wait, I'd like
Right,
to
Denny.
answer something here. I'd like to ask you something here before. So somebody said the consciousness of Nigeria towards the happening is high on social media, but at the grassroots, the presence is decreasing. Okay, let's tell ourselves some home truths. You have a poorer voting pattern in suburban areas than you have in remote areas. Everybody says the grassroots wants money or wants palliatives before they vote for somebody who presents them that same middle class. You see, we need to stop lying to ourselves in this country. We do that a lot. Grassroots is not your problem. There's grassroots in the US, Texas. They vote the same way they want to vote. If you don't talk to them about gun laws or talk about how close you are to God, or more, you're not getting their votes. They behave like that. But when the middle class changes itself, that's when there's an issue with the democracy. Adeni obviously can't seem to unmute his mic. I don't know for what reason. How are the questions increasing? I thought they were reducing and we're almost done. Okay, Anita, over to you.
I think, Haya yourself wants to ask a question.
Okay, Lisa. Okay.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, yeah. How are you?
You are talking about the local government autonomy. And when the money comes to the state government normally holds it back. So what was the solution to that, sir, in Nigeria, the study of Nigeria?
The solution is that you start to sue the local government chairman for giving the state governor. When three local government chairmen, you sue the local government chairman for giving the state governor. When three go to jail because of that issue, nobody will try it again. It's very simple.
But sir, in the previous lesson, which is last week, we were informed that the money is being paid directly to the state government, that the local government don't own their own accounts by themselves. So how is this again?
Is the money supposed to go to the state government or go to the local government?
Supposed to go to the local government.
Okay. If there's a discrepancy and states have found out how to channel it into their force, who are you to hold accountable for that? The governor or the local government chairman?
The local government chairman.
Beautiful. So when you hold him accountable, that route will stop. Thank you. It's very simple.
Okay, thank you, sir.
So Gabrielle, can you unmute your mic, please? Or yeah. Hello. Okay. I think you already asked the question.
No, Gabriel
has
already asked the question.
Yes, sure. So Adeni, can you please unmute your mic? That way you can ask your question. All right.
If Adeni can't unmute his mic, I think we should give Yusuf a chance.
Yusuf has been. Or Yusuf, okay.
Adeni, are you there?
No, Yusuf is here.
Okay, Yusuf, go ahead, please.
Thank you. Good evening, guys. I just want to, first of all, Mr. Edie, make a correction on some hierarchy of the appointments, like you mentioned, was incorrect. You mentioned that SSAs, that senior special assistants, are the first higher hierarchy, which is wrong. The right thing is...
Which one is higher?
Yes. Ministers and
Which one is higher?
Ministers and advisors are the same rating. Then commissioners and advisors are the same ratings. Then you have the assistants,
Yusuf,
either
Yusuf, I
personal.
think Yusuf, I think
Yes.
in a quest to correct me, you actually mistook everything I said. I'll tell you to just watch the class video again. I won't repeat it. Because what I broke down was the hierarchy between the PAs, I differentiated the hierarchy between the personal assistants and the senior special assistants. I didn't describe hierarchy with ministers. I didn't draw them together. I only was talking, when I linked them, I was talking of elected, appointed executive. The only people's hierarchy I described was PAs to SSAs. That was what I explained in hierarchy.
Okay, then to the next.
So
I'll leave that to you. Yeah, the next
you
I
leave
have,
it to me.
the next I have is issue of the issue of local government, like you rightly said, about how the chairman sometimes the whole thing is micromanaged by the state, which is the joint account of the state. Now there are prudent governors. I think this has to do with the will of the governor. I can remember correctly before Nasir El-Rufai retired as a governor, left office as a governor. He hasn't been immersed in any part of local government allocation.
Hello, you're breaking. Hello, you're breaking seriously.
Okay, it's possible it could be the network. Hello? Then FCT minister.
You're back now.
The outgone FCT minister also have never touched anything that has to do with the local government allocation, and which most of the local government chairmen can attest to that. So this issue of local government.
Wait. Let me no, go back to what you said, Yusuf. Now, Yusuf, from the way you're talking, I'm going to ask you a critical question.
Okay, go ahead. Hello, go ahead. You said you were going to ask me.
No, so we lost Edie, so he's not here. So we're gonna have to wait for him. Okay, we're back. Edie's back. Edie, can you hear us? I think you need to unmute your mic.
Hello.
We can hear you, but you've got to unmute your mic.
Can you hear me?
Edie. Yes, we can hear you. Can you unmute your mic?
This is my issue. I might switch to my phone because I don't know what's going on with the Wi-Fi. I think I'll switch to my phone. Just give me about 2 minutes to do that.
That's a question. Can you imagine you
Hello?
We can hear you, Edie.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you. Welcome back, Edie.
You keep muting me back now.
Oh, okay. No, I was asking you to unmute.
You know, you keep muting me. I unmute, then you mute me back. You keep muting. Maybe because you are asking twice or something. So someone was asking a question. I missed what he was saying towards the end. Where is he? Yusuf,
Yusuf,
the
are you still
government
here?
man.
I think he's gone off too. He's
Well,
gone off.
he's educating us on the governors that give full power to local government.
Yeah. Okay. I think Anita has gone off too. All right. Adeni, is your mic working now? Can unmute and ask your question. If not, we'll move over to Akambi.
Hello, good afternoon. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Yes.
I had to join on a different device. I don't know what was happening on the other one. Just quick introduction again. My name is Adeni Akinjogmi. I am in the AAC group on here. And thank you for this enlightening talk today or class. I know we still have a lot of classes to go down with, but this has been very interesting to learn a lot of things, especially about the executive arm of governance and on local governance. It seems like a lot of people have been asking questions with regards to the local government, which I also want to do. However, I feel like part of my question might have been answered. Now, I want to ask a question first before I go into my actual question. Mr. Kunle Lawal, how would you like to be addressed? By your first name or Mr. Lawal or Kunle?
I think your network is bad. You're breaking up.
He's not breaking up. I can hear him clearly. Listen.
Yeah. So how would you like to be addressed?
Kunle, my name is Kunle Lawal.
Okay. So Kunle, you mentioned something about how now, like in the past few years, you've seen a decline in participation of people with regards to politics and things like that.
No, I have seen a decline in understanding.
Understanding,
okay. Governance and politics.
Okay, understanding. I'm being corrected now. I would say that participation, especially from my own experience in the past elections of this year or this year's election, we saw more people, more awareness. So the next step is about understanding governance, understanding.
But Adeni, can we correct something?
Yes, please.
When you say more, what do you mean? You mean a larger set of people came out to vote?
Larger set of people, more people were pushing for people to come out.
Adeni, that's incorrect. The total number of people that participated in the election this year, I think it's about 28 point something million. In the ratio we've had it in Nigeria, that participated in the elections, about 28 million. In the ratio to voter population, entire voter population we've had in Nigeria, we also had about 29 million in 2019 or close to 30 million in 2019. But then we had a smaller voter population, I think about 60 or 65 million. Now we're talking of a voter population that's as high as 87 million. And then you now have 28 million people participating, and you say that's more people participating in governance. I don't understand that.
Okay,
Nigeria has dropped. Wait, and I'm going to give you stats. Nigeria has dropped from 2015 to performing below. 2015 was our last 50% of voting population participating in elections. Nigeria has dropped far below that, and by percentage, this is the lowest performing elections in Nigeria's history.
Okay, I wouldn't want us to delve into this aspect now because that was not the question I want to ask.
But I have to correct because I didn't know other people are listening.
I agree. I agree. I hope other opportunities will come up for us to have a more elaborate understanding and ask questions with regards to this. But my question is this. So as individuals, and I don't want to go too much into a story that I have with regards to local government and holding people accountable. What can we as individuals do when we see that things are wrong in our local government and ask for accountability from our local government chairman or chairwoman or council members? And I don't want to go too much into a story, but in 2015, I had a situation. I used to live in Victoria Island, and I used to take a bus from Obalende to Yaba to work. And there was a construction project going on in Obalende. It was supposed to be completed in 2014. This is 2015, January, February, March. I went to seek out for local government chairperson in both Iru Victoria LCDA, Obalende LCDA. I couldn't get anybody to respond to anything. I sent series of emails. I went to their offices 3 different times, and there was nobody to address my concerns as to why a project that was meant to be completed in October of 2014, well into 2015, had not been completed. This is me as one individual who is not getting results.
Why did you report it to ICPC?
Well, now I'm not as politically vast or governance vast as I was back then. Now I'm gaining more understanding, which one of the reasons why I'm in this class. So I didn't know that I could do that. I just went by what I thought I could do. Okay, what is the next chain of command that I think I should report something to? I didn't know that there was an option to report to ICPC, which may or may not have given me the results. Now, my question is, at this point of gaining understanding, what can we do as individuals at this point to have more accountability? You've mentioned ICPC. What else can we do in other instances when we see this?
So ICPC is not the only. ICPC, of course, is not the only one. So you can report to 6 people that deal with this, from NFIU, it's financial, to ICPC and EFCC. You can also write a petition to the court and ask the local government chairman to explain what was done with the funds and why he didn't complete that. He has to respond to the court. What else could be done? He also can be held liable if you took the matter up to state. If it was becoming a problem, this could be a matter also presented to the state assembly, that's the State House of Assembly. It will be presented written as an official petition against the local government chairman. You could also gather together the council, which is the councillors, and explain to them that local government chairman is not paying attention to you, and you can move on his a vote of no confidence at the council level. There are multiple things that can be done. You could write about this in newspapers, federally indicting the governor based on local government chairman's in performance. And of course, to pay attention to, you could get it on news. You could offer to talk about it on a news channel. You could put it on a blog. There's so much you can do. It's limitless what you can do to help provide. And it's easy because local government is closer to you than you imagine. So it's quite easy to hold them accountable. It's not as hard as the federal and state.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. I'm sure in understanding this, if other scenarios do come up, I'll be able to use all available channels and exhaust them as much as I can. But thank you. Thank you for the response.
Yes. Thank you very much, Adini. Thank you very much.
Okay, Akandi, I've asked you to unmute. You can go ahead with your question. Can you hear me? Okay, the next person, Tim Hart, I've asked you to unmute.
Hello.
Hello, good day.
Oh, okay, good evening, sir.
Good day, Benjamin. How are you?
Okay, mine is just a very quick question. I'm from Plateau State, actually. And then I think the last administration in this state was an EPC administration. But then after this year's election, PDP emerged. But then immediately when the new governor came into power, he dissolved all the 17 local government chairmen. So my first question is, okay, does he have the right to do that? Because I feel those chairmen were democratically elected.
I need to ask you a question. Were they elected or appointed?
Yes,
this is critical.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. That's where my question is coming from. Like, that's why I'm asking, does he have the right? Because those chairmen were elected.
If they were elected, he doesn't have the rights. And if we follow the case of Makinde doing the same thing in your state, Makinde lost that election, that case at the Supreme Court, and the local government chairman were reinstated. No governor has the power to dissolve duly elected officials, just like the president cannot dissolve a state governor. How? That is the same thing now. I think because state people do it, everybody thinks they have the power. Makinde didn't succeed with it in Oyo State in 20, I can't remember, I think 2019 or 2020 something. So so that's that. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, actually, I was just surprised because they were kind of even defending themselves that okay, what they did was not against the law and stuff. So I was kind of surprised that okay.
It's against the law. It's against the law. Totally against.
I think you have answered my question, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, I think we still have Alfred. Alfred, you can unmute and ask your question. Edie, please, could you give me a co-host? I think I went off with my network.
Hello.
Alfred, your background is quite noisy.
Hear me? Hello.
Yes,
hello,
we can.
Alfred. Good day.
Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. I think my question have been asked already. I just want to comment to say thank you, Edie, for the wonderful job. We are learning a lot. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Alfred. Thank you very much. So that would leave Akambi, if I'm right.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Akambi, if you can't unmute, you can send your question to the admin. I'll take over I'll respond privately to you back or respond to your party. You can leave the question you want to ask on your party group. I'll respond from there. So thank you very much, 8 cohort. Lisa, I'll hand over the class to you. Lisa, as you're aware, ED has other strong engagements. So thank you very much. It's been a pleasure with the 8 cohort. I wish you guys a very lovely time with us in the Electoral College. Thank you, everyone. Lisa, I hand over back to you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Edie. That was an awesome class, like promised. I hope we all, had a great time with our executive director this evening. So thank you all for attending. I just want to say that I hope everyone has joined their respective parties and groups. If you're not in a party or a group, you're as well as just attending the course for free. You're not going to get a certificate at the end of the day. So please, if you've not joined your party or your group, they've been posted on the WhatsApp since last week, Sunday. So please do well to check for your name and join your respective party and group. And for the assignments, I trust that we're making headway. The submission, the deadline is Sunday, which is by the corner. So let's put everything in place so that we can submit and meet up with the deadline. I think that will be all. As you all, I'm sure you all have met your respective team leads in your groups. They are the representatives of the college. So if you do have any challenge, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to them. They're there to guide you and to help you through the process. Because of course, a lot of us do not know, a lot of you do not know about how a party runs and all that. So they're there to just serve as a guide. So feel free to reach out to them anytime if there's any issue. I think that'll be all for this evening. Our classes continues tomorrow evening. And please, I'll encourage everyone, attend classes. Attendance is taken for every class. And this attendance will be used at the end of the day to know whether you qualify for a certificate or not. So please don't just say you go and catch up on the lectures or you read the slides. Make sure you're present in class. This took a lot to put together, and the least you can do is to show up and learn. So thank you all. Thank you for the admin team, Maureen, Chalia. Thank you, everyone. Anita had to leave. She did a great work. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Edie, once again. And I enjoin us all to join the Twitter space. It'll be coming up shortly in, say, an hour from now by 8 p.m. on Twitter. So please do well to join the Twitter space and let the conversation continue. It's still going to be about the executive arm of government, and you have the opportunity to also share your thoughts and interact. So make it a date with us in an hour, 15 minutes from now on Twitter. Okay, I hope all of us are following the handles of the Electoral College. Maureen, please do well to post that on the Telegram group. We all should follow the handles, and feel free to share what you learned from each class and tag the college after each class. Share the points, the things that stood out for you, and tag the college. Thank you all and have a good evening.